Hey, what's going on, everybody? Want to do a recap really quick on the Swamp Country event that is now in the books. It was the Bass Nation Kayak Series event that we fished a couple of weeks back. Um, Southeast Louisiana tidal water. Um, for people not familiar with the specific regions down there, you would say it was the Louisiana Delta, right? So it was Saint Bernard Parish, tidal marsh, canals, bayous, that type of thing. Um, and man, it was one of those where I took what could have been a catastrophe and just like an absolute bomb and turned it into a somewhat decent finish. It's funny, one of those, just one decision, especially in kayak fishing when it takes so long to get from point A to point B and load up and drive and that type of thing. One decision can change the whole course of a day. I had a decent, and maybe an average, I guess you could say, practice. I found a few fish in an area that I thought would be protected from the north wind that was just absolutely brutal. It blew all day. It just didn't stop. Of course, my practice plan was kind of based around that forecast. And I got there in the morning. The water still looked okay. Everything was all right. But after about 45 minutes, I caught one 11-inch fish, and it was one of those things. You got to make a choice. Do I hunker down here and wait for it to get better, or do I hunker down here, or do I change and try to find something else and just explore? Um, and the deal is, if it does get better, great. But if that area doesn't pan out and it's noon and you realize that it's not going to work there, you don't have time to go anywhere else. And we did have a short day. We only fished till 1 o'clock, which I'm kind of thankful of. Uh, Given the conditions that we dealt with, just cold, rain, wind, not ideal, especially for that type of environment, man. A north wind in our coastal fisheries, it just completely, it's super shallow water, so everything just gets kind of, there's a lot of unfishable water. I will say it like that. So anyway, back to the tournament. At about, I don't know, about an hour after lines in, I had that 111-inch fish and said, I'm just gonna load the boat and I'm gonna go search, right? So I went to an area further south near Delacroix that I'd really caught a bunch of fish in, and this is funny. 3 years ago, which was the last tournament that I had there, and I kind of thought with conditions the way they were, there was one area that was protected. It had clean water and a lot of fish back then. I said, well, maybe similar conditions, similar time of year. Um, it will be the same case. Well, I got there, and the water looked decent when I started. By the time I had put the boat in, got to where I wanted to fish, it was absolutely just looked like yoo-hoo, like chocolate milk. It got bad really quick. I stuck it out, trying to see if I could make some adjustments and make things work. It didn't happen. So anyway, load up, spend another hour and a half loading the boat, driving back to the original spot. And from about 11:30 until 1 o'clock, I caught them pretty good in that original canal that I left earlier, and a couple of the leaders were fishing around that same area. So hindsight, it would have been ideal to just kind of stay and and wait on that bite window to open up. That's not what I did, but I did end up salvaging some points. I think I finished ninth out of around 30 guys, I believe, or maybe it was maybe 20, 22, 23. I'd have to look at the leaderboard. But like I said, not a complete catastrophe, not what I wanted by any stretch. Could have been much worse. The one thing I can look back and say, you know what, I'm glad I didn't continue searching when I left that second spot. I just kind of went back to the original spot where I knew I knew some fish were anyways. So yeah, that's the takeaway from that. It's all about decisions. But great event nonetheless. Got some points to start the season out, and AOY is not out of the question for that series, so that's always cool. Thank you all for watching.